What's up YouTube? Today I bring a fun video. I made 10 predictions around 6 to 7 months ago and I want to take a look at those and see if I was correct or not. I believe this will be a lot of fun and this will be a good example of why it's so difficult to predict the market. But before I go into that, let me say one thing. If you can give a like to this video, I would appreciate quite a lot. I put a lot of effort doing videos like this, again, almost every day if you count with Patreon, so I think a like is more than fair. Apart from that, if you are not a subscriber, consider doing that because again, it's an amazing way to support my work. Even before I go into the main content, there is a couple of things I want to talk about. Will be very short, but on the vintage server, on the vintage community on Discord, a couple of people end up calling me out, saying that I end up sharing in the last couple of months eBay affiliate links on the tab community, and I should disclose that. Well, look, they are totally correct. The reason I did not disclose that was not because I was trying to trick anyone. It's actually way more simple than that. I thought, since I share already on a couple of feeds that I use eBay affiliates links because they actually help the channel a fair bit, why not using that on the tab community? And I thought putting every time I do a new pool, every time I share a couple of my thoughts that I'm using eBay affiliate link was a little bit too much. But guess what? Those are the rules and I need to follow the rules. So going forward, and I already updated everything, and I'm deleting a couple of pools for logic reasons, as I actually cannot update those. I cannot edit pools, but going forward I will still share those links, but I will again say on in front of the link that's a eBay affiliate link. I feel weird saying that I'm apologizing for this because I did not create any type of negative consequence for you. You actually end up helping the channel if you end up clicking on those, and I think most of you guys want to help the channel. That being said, I need to improve on that, and going forward I will make clear that I'm sharing a eBay affiliate link, and I actually believe that can actually even bring more clicks on those links, because again, actually maybe a couple of you guys did not know, but in the opposite way, that you guys can support me with such a easy thing. So that being said, let's move on into the disclaimer. Will be a very short one, but a very important one. No financial advice. This channel is about soccer cards, but a lot of my views can be applied to other markets. Prices or pop can eventually be wrong at the time you see this video. No one can predict the market. This video will be a good example of that. Fundamentals are your best friend in the long run. I don't believe in timing the market. I believe time in the market, as long as you spend that time well, of course. Keep in mind that I'm a collector first and an investor second. I look first at value instead of price. So I assess value, then I assess price. Below the video you can find a eBay affiliate link that supports the channel. Patreon link is also below, and probably the best way to support me. English, as you can see at this point, is not my main language. Any types of mispronunciations, I'm sorry. So let's start with this. My first prediction was this: Luka Prism base will be a $500 cards or less. At the time this card was selling around $900 to $1K. Right now the last sold, and actually the card seems in a very downtrend. Is selling around $451, as you can see below $500. What I said at the time was, Luke is a great player and this have nothing to do with potential. By the way, I still believe on that, of course, but the crazy amount of supply and people leaving the market in the next 2 months will be too much, and I was totally correct on this. At the time I got a couple of critics saying that I did not understand demand on NBA, and maybe there is some truth to that, but in reality I always thought a card being 17k 18k pop is just too much. I'm sorry. I mean, there is no way around that. Of course, if we go to a crazy mainstream market, those cards maybe can reach that level, but that seems quite far off from reality. So this was at the time, not saying a difficult one, but not that at least a couple of people end up disagreeing with me, and of course predicting a card will crash 50% is not easy, so I thought this prediction was very on point. Moving on, Mundichrome Rise. So I said this: Messi Mundichrome will become the second most expensive rookie card for Lionel Messi. Risky one in my opinion. Actually was very risky, because I don't know if 6 months are enough to educate the market in the history of this card. And when I say the history of this card, again, I made a couple of videos about the Messi market. Mundichrome is a very special card for Lionel Messi for multiple reasons. The biggest rival of this card is the ST sticker by far. I'm still going to go with Mundichrome, but I believe this will be a close one. So this prediction, I was wrong. As you can see, and by the way, I did this slide a couple of days ago. Not sure if those prices are correct anymore, but at the time I did this slide, those end up being the last sales or at least close to that for those cards. And as you can see, the Messi Everon Beast is by far the most expensive one in a PSA 8. And I'm choosing PSA 8 for one reason. I saw more sales on that grade than on PSA 9s and PSA 10s. But even though you can make an argument that, for example, maybe the Mundichrome on PSA 10 can perform better than the other cards because the condition, the centering is so bad that condition rarity could be a thing for Mundichrome. Again, we can go in different narratives, but let's go with PSA 8 for now. And at this point, seems like Mundichrome is on third place, but very close with the other rookies. So my idea, I still believe, was correct because not that long time ago, not sure if it was 6 months or 7 months ago, but not that long time ago, Messi Mundichrome was by far, at least raw, okay? Graded, I'm not sure because I was buying more raw than graded, to be fair, but at least raw, the card was one of the cheapest Messis on the market. Even, for example, if you compare with Panini Barça Mega Cracks Campeón, I'm talking more about the Spanish version because there is actually more sales on that. Those cards end up outperforming Messi Mundichrome every day. In raw was actually a big gap. I remember paying, I would say 2 years ago, but again, don't quote me on this, $200 for a Messi Mundichrome rookie in good condition, and I was paying 300 for the Campeón cards. And as you can see now, actually Mundichrome is outperforming those. So I still believe a lot on the Mundichrome card. Of course, Pop Report is something that we need to track a little bit more closer. The SS sticker, what an amazing sticker, to be fair. That is one of the best collectibles for Lionel Messi, no error on that, and deserves the second spot. In PSA 10, in the future, I think the Messi Mundichrome will still demand a premium, not more than Esse, but I'm comparing with the other rookies. So this is an interesting one. I was wrong without any type of doubt, but in general, and you guys can tell me on the comments, I think the idea was quite good, and in the long run, I'm a big believer on Messi Mundichrome. So moving on, as you can see, this says number 4, but this is a mistake. This is the number 3. I said SGC BGS will close the gap for PSA. This is an easy claim. PSA premium right now is crazy. I believe both BGS and SGC will increase in value. To be fair, BGS ended up not doing very well in the last 6 months. Again, I'm very confident about this, but 6 months is a very short time, so we'll see. And in the video, you can actually watch that on my YouTube channel. I believe I said that the PSA 10 premium was giant, even if you compare with PSA 9s. And one of the examples I end up using the most, and by the way, every card is a card, every case is a case, so you can probably find any examples where I was not correct on this, but I tend to believe my idea was pretty good on this one. I remember talking a lot about the Panini World Cup cards for Lionel Messi, and look, in May, let's say 6 months, 7 months ago, you could buy this card, you could buy, for the price of a PSA 10, you could buy 13 PSA 9s. I'm not even comparing right now with the other grading companies. And right now, to have an idea, the Messi card is selling around 6K, and the PSA 9, I'm talking about the PSA 10, and the PSA 9 is selling around 1K. Again, those prices, they can fluctuate quite a lot, but at the time I'm recording the video, with the price of a PSA 9, with the price of a PSA 10, I'm sorry, you can buy 6 PSA 9. So you can see 13 versus 6 is quite a big difference. And I still believe that the premium in certain cards, not talking about this one in particular, is a little bit too big, especially when you compare PSA 9s versus PSA 9s versus PSA 10s. But the same logic you can apply, the SGC 9.5 or the SGC 10 versus even the BGS 9.5, the gap for this card end up closing similar to the PSA 9 versus the PSA 10. And again, I feel that there is still a lot of road in front of the PSA 10 premium, if you ask me, because certain cards, if the gem mint rate is not below 5%, 2%, I don't think people should pay 10x, 20x for a PSA 10. I think that's just crazy. That's just me. In the case of this card, I was correct, the Panini World Cup. And in general, you should adapt this prediction to almost every card. For example, Messi Everon Beast, there is not a lot of sales, so it's difficult to say if the BGS 9.5 end up closing for the PSA 10, because there is no sales on those cards almost. But in general, I believe the PSA 10 premium end up going down quite a bit. And by the way, I'm saying correct. If you disagree, that's totally fine. But in this case, there is nowhere on that. The PSA 10 Premium was. If you bought PSA 9s for the Messi 2006 World Cup card, you did much better than buying a PSA 10. So there is nowhere on that. WCCF potential. I said a WCCF card will sell for over 5k, and this was the one I was completely wrong. I believe the hype is real on this set. A lot of new kids have true rookies on WCCF. A good example is Sancho and Foden. Could be a Messi Ronaldo high grade card setting that price, but a new rookie have the potential to. So what I was trying to say, and I explained this a little bit better on the video, is if I had to pick a card that will sell for over 5k on WCF, I would go probably with Messi Refractor or Cristiano Ronaldo Refractor. The Messi Refractor is a second year card, the Cristiano Ronaldo is actually a third year card, or a new rookie like Foden, I don't know, for example, Foden, Sancho, players that are quite, at the time, end up being quite hot on the market. Again, fun prediction and very risky, but we will see. Of course, like I said, very risky, and I was wrong on that. So, both foil Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi WCF cards, the first WCF cards for those players, they are selling around $400, $500, sometimes more, sometimes less, in a PSA 9. Sadly, we did not saw a PSA 10 hit the market. I believe a 10 could potentially reach because if the PSA 9 is selling, let's say at $500, I believe those could quite easily actually reach between 2k to 4k, maybe more realistic around 2k, 3k right now on this particular market. Still not my prediction, but I would say way closer if eventually one of those cars end up coming into the market. That being said, the growth in LCFA was huge. So again, looking at those predictions, and it's of course super difficult, and most of them end up going a little bit too far. That's part of the fun. But one thing I would say is, look, even if a card did not sell for 5k, and again, I still believe a PSA 10 for those players potentially will go for 2k, 3k right now. But even if I was correct, one thing that is undeniable, if you ask me, is the growth on the LCCFA is actually quite huge. I see way more people talking about those cards. I see a lot of people talking about the first Messi card, the first Cristiano Ronaldo card, looking at Mbappe cards at that time, Haaland cards, etc. So the growth on the LCCFA, I tend to believe, was huge, and 5k will eventually gonna happen if I had to predict. Again, I'm not doing a prediction right now. I actually will make a video soon about my 10 next predictions for the next, in this case, not 6 months, but to 12 months. But I believe the LCCF card can eventually sell for 5k. Will be the Messi, will be the Foden, will be the Cristiano Ronaldo. Again, difficult to predict. I probably would go with Messi if I had to choose one. But the growth on LCFA was huge. And again, even if the prediction is wrong, the idea was quite good. Moving on. At number 5, Cruyff Explosion. A Cruyff card will sell for over 30k. I'm not going to predict what card's rookie because I believe this will be more about the grade and less about the cards. Cruyff in general is very undervalued. So as you can see at the time, I had a very strong opinion about Cruyff. But again, I'm not sure about 6 months being enough to educate the market. Same logic with almost every prediction. I'm going kind of off a lean, but this is a fun experience. So at the time, the most expensive card, I believe, for Cruyff was around 10k. Of course, this prediction, I'm correct, but I feel I'm wrong, actually. Let me explain this. Look, I predict over 30k, but there is sales, there is a couple of sales that end up crashing that market. Actually, the top sale, I believe, is still above 100k for a PSA 8 Palirex Campeões. And that's another thing that is important to talk about. Palirex Campeões is at this point by far the holy grail for Cruyff. And by the way, beautiful card. Some people think I don't like the card. It's not the case at all. It's a beautiful card, one of the most iconic cards in the soccer card market. But at the time I record this video, even if the Palirex Campeões Europeus was even at the time the most expensive cards, I thought the gap between the Van der Hout, but even more in particular the Verlag sticker was not that giant as it is today. So again, end up being correct on this one. Cruyff Explosion was, again, end up going over my expectations, actually. So see, if this is quite funny. I know I was wrong on this, but my feeling was correct. On this one, I'm correct, but since the sale was so over what I ended up predicting, I kind of feel wrong. So this is all fun, of course, but this is an interesting one, and I'm happy for Cruyff collectors. 6, Ultra Modern Crush. Six, and I say this: vintage legends will keep going up and modern going down. My feeling on the market in general, there is a scenario where everything went down, and actually, you can say that's a scenario that we are facing right now. That being said, that being said, in this case, I still believe modern will be way more affected, and I think this prediction was quite wrong. Again, you can use multiple examples. You can find a card that actually a legend player that ended up underperforming even worse than pre-modern, than ultra-modern. I'm sorry, I'm not thinking about anyone, to be fair, but I'm pretty sure you can always find those type of examples. But in general, modern is quite down, and when I say down, I mean really down. In vintage pre-modern, key cards are still holding quite strong. So for example, a couple of cards, in this case, let's go with odd players, Foden and Haaland. 6 months ago, the base stuff for top scrum Bundesliga, which people consider a rookie card for Haaland, was selling around 3k to 2k to 2.5k. Right now, not even 1k. So as you can see, if you think 3k to 1k, that's a huge crash. The Foden one, in this case, Don Ross's, which at the time I thought was crazy, to be fair, but this card was selling around $400, $500. Right now, not even $100. Again, a huge difference. But for example, and since I end up choosing on the picture Ronaldo, 6 months ago, a PSA 6 sold for 1.5k. 7 months ago, again, the gap, you need to understand. You need to adjust yourself basically, and right now, at least recently, sold for 1.5k. The growth was not anything spectacular, but you can see, and let's say even if the card ends up selling for 1k, the card will still be holding a value way stronger than modern cards, but actually the card ends up growing. And if you apply this logic for Thierry Henry cards, Zidane cards, Cantona, I don't know, all of those players, a couple of those probably are down when you compare with 6-7 months ago, but even then I'm talking about 20%, 30% in cases of modern. You are talking about drastic drown trends. One thing that I believe we need to talk about is Cristiano Ronaldo market and Messi market. Messi in general is not that down when you is down, okay, but is not that down when you compare with Haaland cards and Foden in general. There will be exceptions. Same logic applies for Cristiano Ronaldo, and this is, again, I don't think this is very debatable. The ultra modern crash is real, and I believe there is no good signs for most of those players. I'm sorry if you still hold those cards. I can only see those cards going down in the next couple of months. Who knows the market, to be fair. Imagine if there is a crazy growth in the hobby, we can see another bull run. That's why I say so difficult to predict the market, but invest in value and not in price, and that way we'll be happy. So even if, again, think about this Don Ross's card or this top scrum card is down quite heavily, you can say, yeah, but Messi is also down. But what market you trust the most, the Messi market or the Foden market? Look, maybe you trust more the Haaland market, and you can make solid arguments on that. But me personally, I still go with a legendary player. I believe a lot on players that are goats, basically. So, number 7, PSA will start using season option and labeling cards correct. This makes me very happy because I say this. I don't know if I really believe on this, or if I want, or if this is what I really want. PSA, I still have vote, and I'm very happy. And look, PSA, I critique PSA quite often, to be fair, but to be fair, I critique BGS even more often. But PSA have been doing a lot of good things. I know people, they are still mad because of their turnaround times, having bulk orders for more than 1 year. And by the way, I'm on that boat, for example. But in general, look, they right now, and this was actually confirmed on the vintage Discord, as you can see. Dwayne the Dows, again, this is a member of PSA, which and he interacts a lot with the community on the vintage Discord, and he said, and if you don't have time to listen, because he ended up sharing the news on a podcast, PSA for soccer will now be labeled by season, which I believe, look, we can, if you want to critique PSA for a lot of things, you can do it. For this, there is no way. This is the correct way to do it. I wish that they end up doing this a little bit more soon. That being said, this is an amazing change. Grading soccer by year, I think, is very tricky, and in the long run, we will face a lot of problems. by season makes a lot of sense. Very happy with this. BGS already grades by season. SEC already grades by season. BGS, to be fair, grades by season, but all over the place. Again, different story for. Sorry, I'm touching the mic. Different story for another day. But PSA have been doing a lot of things that I think are amazing. To be fair, this is one, but there is more. Even in terms of technology, PSA have been improving quite a lot. Even if I don't think the PSA Premium is that, even if I think the PSA 10 Premium is crazy, the reality is PSA is doing a lot of things correct, and I don't see them changing their position on the market as number one. I think that's impossible at this point. In the future, who knows? It's so difficult to predict. But right now, PSA, again, big shout out because and big shout out for him to sharing this on the Discord. He could basically just announce this on the PSA website. But this is amazing news. So, and again, related with PSA bulk service. PSA bulk service prediction. PSA minimum price to grade. Okay, this I cringe at this prediction actually. PSA minimum price. I'm sorry. PSA minimum price to grade will be between $20 to $30. Yeah, this was a little bit far off. Another risky one. I mean, no one is stupid. We knew that the backlog was giant. But another risky one. A lot of people say when PSA opens again, price will be at least $50. I don't have the same feeling. I feel like PSA will eventually become much faster. And by the way, this idea is actually correct. It will eventually become much faster, and they will still want collectors to grade random cards. Other thing, PSA did a lot of mistakes in the last 12 months, in my view. Increasing the price seems risky at this point. A lot of people are close enough to grade with other companies. A price increase could be the final factor. And by the way, there is some truth on that because think about the SGC. SGC growth, and the growth was insane since PSA ended up closing. You can say, yeah, but when PSA reopens, do you think SGC will keep doing well? I honestly think so because look, when people start grading with another grading company, they start loving the slab. They start to collecting certain plays in only SEC slab, only PSA slab. So without any type of doubt, again, BGS was the thing I was totally off because you guys know what's going on with BGS is just bad. But and by the way, I still hope BGS makes a comeback because that will be good for the hobby. So this is my big fail on all of those predictions because again, let's go back a little bit. Look, I was wrong on this, but was I really wrong in the sense that the growth was insane on LCCF? I was wrong on this, but again, was I really totally wrong? Because you guys know Mundi Chrome ended up growing quite a lot also. But this one I was really wrong. Okay, there is no way around that. I mean, the minimum grade right now is $100, so predicting $20, $30 is very different than $100. No way around. I guess there is no way around to justify my prediction. I was wrong. But that being said, and this is the most important thing because being wrong or correct means what means basically nothing. The backlog was bigger than I expected, and most of us expected. Seems like they've been closing, I don't know, for 9 months or something, maybe more, maybe less. I don't remember exactly. And the backlog is still huge. At least seems like it's still huge because I see people with orders from October, November of last year, so more than 1 year still on backlog. And we know that March, February, January, strong months in terms of submissions early this year. So backlog's probably still quite huge. But again, my idea, even if the price was completely off. Actually, Nat Turner already said bulk is coming back. In 6 months, maybe this prediction will be correct, if I had to guess. But again, who knows? Backlog is so huge that I could be totally wrong again. But the idea in general, I don't think it's that far off because think about what Nat Turner have been saying in a couple of interviews. They really want to keep collectors that they basically grade cards that are not even worth to grade, but they just want to collect. So having a service at $10, $20, $30 is something that eventually they will have because Nat Turner already ended up confirmed that. 9. This is a controversial one. F1 hype. So I said this. F1 cards is just that. F1 cards is hype. F1 cards hype is just that hype. Hype mans love niche cars like F1, still believe on that by the way. Most of the time they buy cheap and start putting FOMO into you. F1 is just one example, tomorrow will be cricket or something random, sport niche. Remember Marvel cars, remember Serena cars, tennis cars. Look, F1 is a great sport and makes sense have a market with fans of the sport. That's not the case right now. A market don't start from the top. Again, I still believe in a lot of those things. Trust me, and this is one of the easy picks for me. In 6 months, a lot of the hype is gone. And then the real market starts. So I could put this correct. And I will explain why. So, for example, the cars, even the refractor, you can apply the same logic. Let's go with the base, but even the refractor is quite down. When I made this prediction, was selling around 1.1k. Right now, $600, around those numbers. So you can say that those cars end up going down. But in the other end, I feel saying this will be unfair to the F1 market. I still, and this will be my final thoughts, because when I talk about F1, people tend to not like that a lot. But again, and I have been not talking about F1, I just need to do it for this particular video. I still believe F1, in particular modern, ultra modern, is a very hype driven market. But I believe the same in soccer, NBA, Pokemon, etc. The Netflix show is a huge factor on demand and growth of their market. I think no one can actually debate this. Shows eventually will die off. So this is, if I was, and I'm not by the way, if I was F1 collector, especially talking about ultra, but again, I actually believe this will affect all eras. But especially if I was collecting ultra modern cards, guys, I know the show is doing very well. But there is a lifespan for shows. There is cycles on shows. I will be a little bit concerned, but that's just me. Maybe completely disagree, and you love F1. If that's the case, all the power to you. In the other end, I see, even on my Discord, people talking about F1 vintage, and seems like the market is growing in a more natural way. And I think that's amazing, by the way. I guess you could make an argument I was correct, but I don't think that will be fair. F1 is still doing very well in general, and vintage is personal where I see a lot of potential. So if I had to predict, and by the way, I'm not a F1 guy, so don't take this very serious, but if I had to predict, I believe vintage have a lot of room to grow in F1. Ultra modern, I'm not sure. I know people will say, yeah, but 1 of 10 from Hamilton is still doing very well. Again, I don't think those cards make the market, being the market, basically. In general, base cards, prism, refractor cards that are a little bit more available is where you should base your data. So again, just my opinion, I think F1 was not only hype. There is still a lot of hype in F1. And I know a couple of viewers will say I was correct on this, that I should not be saying that I'm wrong, but I honestly feel I'm wrong. Because look, it's not that I have strong data to say I'm wrong, it's just my feeling on the market. I see a lot of people still enjoying and collecting F1, and if that's the case, I cannot say F1 was only hype and will eventually die off in 6 months, because that's not the case at all. So wrong on this one. And the last one, and this is the one that makes me a little bit sad to be wrong, I will have at least 1.5k subscribers on YouTube. Look, at the time I recorded the video, I was not even 500 subscribers, which is quite crazy. Right now I'm so close to 1.5k. I'm 1.4k, actually almost 1.5, but it is what it is. So close, I was wrong. Still amazing growth, and feels like a win, to be fair, because look, if I'm off for 20 people, that's basically nothing. But again, I was wrong on this one, but I'm very thankful for all the support. And yeah, this is another example. I was wrong. Was I really wrong, to be fair? Because the growth on the channel was amazing, and the prediction is so close that you can say I was right, I guess. So thanks for all the support this year. You guys are amazing. I will make another video like this in January. In this case, I will make 10 predictions, 10 or more, I'm not sure, but I will make a couple of predictions for the next 12 months. And those videos are a lot of fun. I mean, as you can see, you are correct on some, you are wrong on some. It's part of the deal. I wish all of you guys a good new year, and let me do a quick recap of the predictions, because I think it's fair. So the first one, this is easy one, no debate. This, I was wrong, but I guess you guys understand that the idea was quite correct. This is another debatable one, but I think the PSA 10 premium for certain cards in soccer actually went down quite a lot. The example I ended up giving on the video was totally correct. The LCCP potential, I said over 5k, very far from that, but the general idea was correct. The growth on the market on LCCP was amazing. And again, if a PSA 10 end up appearing for a card like this, I believe I will still be wrong to be fair, but will be way closer. Cruyff Explosion, again, this is the one I was totally correct, but I feel wrong at the same time. Ultra Modern Crush, I don't think there is a lot of debate on this one. PSA labeling by season, this was a crazy prediction, but I'm very happy I was correct. PSA bulk service, very far from what I was expecting. Again, the idea that eventually PSA will open low service, I believe is true. F1 hype, as just type. This one again, card ended up going down, but I feel I was wrong on this, and the F1 market is still very alive. So, and this one again, probably I'm correct on this, let's be real, but again, if I want to be exactly, I was wrong. So thank you a lot for all the support, and being correct in most of my predictions that matter. This one, let's be real, is whatever. But I think this is fun, and if you guys enjoy this type of videos, leave a like I said, I will do another one very soon for 2021. You guys are amazing year for the channel, amazing year for the soccer card market. Have an amazing year to you, to your family. I wish all the best. And conclusion, collect things you love, prices what you pay, values what you get. See you guys tomorrow. In this case, see you guys next year. Bye.